Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about Edison Motors 2024's progress. As you know, 2024 year is over, so what did they achieve in this year? And I've already covered them 1 year ago. So let's dive deep into it. Now, just in case you do not know about this company and you have not watched the video, you have to understand. There was this dude, you may have heard of it, known as Elon Musk, and Elon Musk made a promise, as he does every 5 days. Semi-truck promise was made in November 2017, and as of now, it still has not been delivered. And yes, it's not delivery when you are only giving it to a limited amount of customer. Delivery as in like, but that time they were like, we're gonna ship it in 1 year. That year has come long and passed by. So as of now, even right now, you cannot just go and buy it. It's not there yet, so to say. And again, even it's right now, 2024, at the end of 2024, is still in early testing phases. So there was a promise, they collected money, lot of money, and like he has actual receipt of that, a lot of money, and it was not delivered. So Chase Barber, this individual, amazing, ballsy individual, he got trolled basically, and he was like, and because you have to understand, Elon Musk is not a truck driver. He does not drive. So as in like trucks, logging trucks and things of that nature. So he wanted certain things, which again, because you are actually using it, you will know far more than compared to anyone who's like, okay, I'm designing a thing. So he was like, I would do this, like this and that and all that. And people started trolling him as like, oh, why don't you make your, electric truck and all that? So it's like, why not I do that? Like, how about I do that? So he did that. He built his own truck company to solve issues. Let that be very clear. He's not trying to be like, magical and all that. It's like trying to solve issues. And benefit of that, like not even benefit, so to say, the benefit is money saved. The primary side effect of that is environment is also saved. Like that's the side effect, that environment will also last longer. And the primary thing is you will save money. And again, I always say, sell people money savings, do not sell them environment. So that's what he did. And how the heck he achieved that? Well, he built series hybrid drivetrain for real world. Now, what does series hybrid and parallel hybrid means? Whenever you are talking about hybrid, it simply means generally you have two sources of energy. For example, you have a combustion engine that can drive your wheels, and then you have an electric motor that can drive your wheel through your battery. So this is an inherent idea of hybrid. Now, what does that mean? That's a very vague. So how does energy go? If energy is going through a serial pipeline, we call it series hybrid, like a diesel locomotive. Or in this you have an engine, you have motor generator unit, and that works, that creates power goes to control electronics, goes to battery, then battery feeds the motor generator unit, that is like the drive unit, and then wheels. And yes, you can have transmission if needed, or lightweight objects may not need it. So this is series hybrid because engines cannot drive the wheel no matter what you do. It's series, one after the other. Like how you have series resistors, one after the other, is the exact same thing. Energy cannot go from like this engine to the wheels directly. It has to go through this all pipeline. Now, like, isn't that wasteful? No, it's more efficient. I'll explain that further. And again, exactly the same thing as submarines, exactly the same thing as diesel locomotive, and the only difference is the battery size. Diesel locomotives don't have batteries, this have battery, that's it. And engine is not connected to road, meaning your vehicle not only operates more efficiently, it also lasts longer, because you do not have a mechanical shaft vibrating based on the road and based on the combustion. So you don't have that. So fatiguing of the metal also goes down drastically. So it's a genuinely good system. And they have done something very amazing: zero venture capital funding. Now let that be very clear. Given the popularity, there would be venture capitalists who can just dump 100 million without any questions. Now problem would be you will also lose your control. And there's more than enough horror stories where CEO lost control of the company because of board of directors, or they went because of the pressures of the line must go up crowd, your board of directors, they could not make a quality product and they had to make an inferior product. So he knows about that. And again, if you study the corporate world, you will know, like back in the days, everything used to last longer. Why they are not lasting? Because it's not meant to. So he made sure that financially he does not fall into the same trap. So he has a very distributed funding scheme. And the benefit of that is there is no one above him that's controlling, like, you shall do this. And you're like, CEO can get controlled? Yeah, absolutely. Like Jensen Huang, basically the NVIDIA CEO, he's very smart. Like somehow he figured out how to, again, so does Meta CEO. There are a few CEOs in this world that like really figured it out very early on. It's like how to make sure you get venture capital without losing the control, but it's very hassle, and they are not even trying it. It's like, dude, I will not jump into that pool. So it's a very good thing long term wise. Basically, it won't be like, oh, I made this company, it's amazingly awesome, and then I sold it, and then poof. So that's a good thing. Again, at this point, it's few years old, so we have seen a lot more data about it. So what about the progress? It's old at this, and again, the company is actually much older. The public announcement is like only 2-3 years ago, so to say. So they have two offerings as of now that they're gonna offer next year, as in 2025, in phase one. Now they are limiting themselves. They're not going all Elon on people, where it's like we're gonna make 5,000 trucks and we're never gonna deliver it. It's not that. It's like, hey, we're only gonna take 10 vehicles. We're gonna make them. We're gonna deploy them into the wild, so to say, and then it will be the feedback era, meaning they're gonna learn from all the real world use cases, and then we're gonna scale it up. If you find very serious issue in this era, we're gonna fix it. So all the data learning will happen into this early era, and then once they actually go into mass production, they won't be like, oh, like Cybertruck, where it's like, oh, the plastic trim actually gets lodged. That won't happen. So they're making 5 models of pickup trucks. Pickup trucks are kind of a backbone of rural Americas, and Canada and India. Basically, it's kind of necessary. So they are working on that, because again, pickup trucks are used so much that if you can guarantee fuel mileage increase by even as little as 5%, people will like shut up, take money. And if you can like, hey, it's electric, which has its own generation, meaning you can drive it on electric. When you run out, basically, if you are going from a fixed location, right, your farm to your house, that's a fixed, let's say, drive, you run on electricity. But when you are like, hey, I have to drive longer, no problem, just turn on the engine. So in those sort of scenario, it's like shut up, take money. People are paying money. And then you have 5 semi trucks. Now originally their idea was that we're gonna have modify the trucks, but problem is the Apple problem, is that the reason why Apple has so many proprietary is like nobody can work with it. If you do, you violate their copyright. So fundamentally that was the same issue. They realized it's much better for them to build their own goddamn trucks. And the pickup trucks, which are again from be it Ford, be it Chevy, the idea is very simple. You already bought the product, you are modifying to your product, we are just selling a kit. So that's how they're dealing it. And with the trucks, they are just learned the hard way. It's just cheaper to build your own. So, and again, it also gives you design flexibility. So this is what's happening. The 10 vehicle that gonna be built next year are, and again, being built as in like it's already under construction. It's like it's already sorted, items are selected, customers are ready, and people have paid. Let that be very clear. This is not a corporation. This is not a company, oh, we have been making trucks for 75 years. It's not that. But people are willingly paying for it because everything else is such a garbage. And this is so logical, it's painful. It's like, are you telling me that you are the only company who figured it out that we have diesel locomotives for a century, and people are like now, oh, what if we had batteries? Like, do you not know what 1 megawatt is? Like literally, that's Elon Musk, like that plug is like, it's almost 4 megawatt rated. How the heck in the middle of nowhere you're going to get 4 megawatt? To give you a context, general electricity distribution line is 9 kV in USA and 11 kV in India. It goes a bit higher than that, is to 33 kV, that if you need a bit more oomph. Yeah, that's still not enough for megawatt. The moment you open your mouth for megawatt, you need to scale it up to maybe 133 kV. And if it's very long distance, like 700 kilometers or 800 kV, which again in rural area it would be, yeah, you may have to go up to 320 kV line. If you think electric cars are expensive, look into electrical transmission line. Everything else will look free. So I have no idea how the heck people are smoking that. It's like, and again, to be fair, people do know that this cannot be done. So all the countries and companies that are like ICE engine ban, they are very honest about it. It's like, we are not even touching heavy loads, because again, right now you cannot do that. Like anybody, oh, we're just going to run on batteries. Like the only way to do that is swapping batteries. Now, has anybody figured it out? Yeah, China is very smart. They had some smart people and it's like, hey, small batteries. Swap the batteries. Do not carry giant battery. Just swap the batteries. And again, battery, you have to make far more batteries. That's the penalty. Benefit, the battery itself can be slowly charged and then you swap it. Swapping takes 2 to 3 minutes. Done. Go home. So, but what if you do not have, because again, that swapping battery does require you to have an ecosystem. So what if you do not have ecosystem? You go series hybrid. The battery is more than good enough for what it does, and you trickle charge it every night without putting surge load. Everybody is fine. And when you do need to go for the, range anxiety is not an issue. It's like just a fuel pump. So this is a real world solution. It's not like, what if we had billions of dollars for electrical transfer? What if we had trillions of dollars for renewable energy? What if we had hextrillions of dollars for doing all this in next 5 years? What if you did what you can do today? So TOPSy was what we call POC, as in proof of concept. Now, what does that mean? That simply means we want to do this, they built it. And TOPSy is second number truck. They had a smaller truck before that. So POC, that's the full size truck. and they got it validated by government VIN number on March 2024. This puppy basically. Now before this is just a thing. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can build a thing, and again, not to diminish that, but that's the easy part. According to them, that's the easy part. Building a truck, that's the easy. Getting through the government regulation, yeah, that's the painful part. So they did go through the government regulation, meaning at this point in time, this is an actual truck that is actually insured, legal to drive on road. And again, that is applies same on every country. Every country has a regulatory body that deals with the roads, and they have a regulation that you have to clear in order to sell something or even drive it on roads, because again, you are sharing road with other people. So they did got that. So that's a very good progress. Not just like, oh, I have a proof of concept that I can drive in someone's private parking lot, to no, I have a thing that I can drive in real road in real condition. That has been sorted. And they also got some real money from $500,000, all $500,000 from CIC Awards. So CICE Awards, this plaque is there. And they are getting attention and recognition from everyone in the field. And that's how they got that 5 semi-trucks. Because again, these puppies are expensive, but people are willing to put that because that's how wise this is. There is nothing in this that is magical. No AI, no self-driving, nothing magical. Or things that Elon Musk promised in 2017. Everything is logical. What can we do? How can we do it? How can we deploy it in real world? And it will work everywhere. So they did that. So progress has been amazing. So what about their learning? Okay, they're making progress. They must have messed up, or royally they have messed up. And they are very open about it. They're openly sharing, yeah, this part did not work. For example, they are switching from CAT as the main generator unit to Scania. Now, the reason why they are going to this is first, CAT was really like, they were not, accommodating, and half of the American manufacturers are like, oh, you are buying less than 1,000, bro, don't waste my time. So that sort of approach versus Scania is like, oh, you want one engine? Hey, we have one engine here. If you can come and collect, you can do it, or we can ship it for you. It may take a bit longer. Shut up, take money, go. So that's why they jump to Scania. Basically, it's a very simple reality of like, I can actually order, because again, this sort of thing has happened where companies are like, hey, we're gonna deliver this thing, but their supplier trolls out and they get stuck. You do not want that. So Scania is a company. Again, you are thinking about a company. They're gonna sell 5 semi-trucks, which are like, you cannot lol it. So they're like, yeah, because be mindful, they will always buy one extra engine just to have a spare. And again, spare parts, assemblies, service, all that, they have to sort it out. So Scania is doing that amazingly well. And again, real world experience in America is that Scania is trustworthy, thou shalt trust it. On top of that, because they are European, they are 10 years ahead in terms of emission. So Europe, whatever Europe does, America slowly comes back to it around 10 years later. So they have far more refined way of dealing with emission standards without requiring particular filters and all that, which was genuinely confusing to me. There's one amazing YouTuber who made amazing train locomotive video, and is like, particle filter. To this day, I do not understand who the heck came up with that idea. It's like, burn the fuel better. But they have this. Really good company, as in like in terms of serviceability, in terms of accessibility. They are not like, oh, we're not going to talk to you unless you have like 5,000 engines orders. Like, that's the amazing part. And in terms of fuel mileage, efficiency, scale, all the things sort out. So they are switching from CAT from supplier to Scania. Another space, their EXL, because again, even though they ordered that EXL was tailor made for them, it was a first gen product. Mark 1 is always garbage. So they're like, yeah, that did not work out. So they switched to this company. I have linked the basically name down below. They did not openly say it, but to be fair, the company is not hiding it. You go to the Chinese company, it's like, yeah, Edison motor is also there. So the idea with this is that this EXL has dual motor drive rather than single motor. So you have to understand this. When you have combustion engine, the energy wants to go to the wheel directly. You do not want to have giant transmission. It wastes some amount of energy. Then you have basically giant drive shaft. Now drive shafts also waste energy because it's not a constant velocity transmission. You have a universal joint, and the expansion control. All those things add up, not only in terms of vibration, in terms of energy loss, it adds up. So then it goes to differential, which again, you are changing the energy direction of 90 degree, it also wastes some energy. They're like, what if you eat that? That's why every diesel locomotive or electric locomotive, they always have motor directly parallel to the shaft, meaning motor shaft is like this, wheel shaft is also like this. So you can directly couple the rotation without inefficiency, so to say, without chatter. So that's a much better coupling efficiency. Having energy to do things, that's one thing. Coupling that energy to what you need to do, that's the wise part. And again, that's how you can differentiate between do it or wisely do it. So this system has two motors. One motor is driving one shaft, one other is doing one shaft. And this puppy is built for heavy loads. How heavy? The axle itself has planetary gears. This is designed for some heavy axle loading, meaning this puppy has weight. And again, this is what China is using right now to have that battery swapping things. So this is time tested, time tested as it could be, and it has dual axle, no differential, and it has the benefit because it has two independent sources. It can control it. It's like, hey, one is slipping, and again, all motors have feedback loop, so they're like, hey, it's supposed to drive, like again, engine control unit is like, bro, go to 2000 rpm, and motor, you dump energy into it, it starts to spin to 3000. It's like, whoa, chill, bro. So that's a very good control system. You will not lose control, and you can torque factor it also. So that's a very huge improvement. And the fact that it is a much compact footprint compared to their previous variant, where you had like, this is the spring end to, so much compact footprint. Chemistry change, this is the most weird part to me. Most likely it's happening because whoever their supplier was did not fine tune the mix as well it could be, because again, they are switching from lithium iron phosphate to lithium manganese oxide. Lithium iron phosphate has more energy. So the reason, best cases, you have to understand, whenever you are talking about, oh, I'm using MNC cells or I'm using NCA cells or LFP cells, those don't mean much. You have to design the anode and cathode and the cell packaging and the BMS and all that thing in order to get the real power according to your needs. So there is a very good chance the supplier did not like meet their what they were expecting. So because again, in terms of chemistry, that's the whole point of lithium iron phosphate. It's actually very long living and it has very high specific power, meaning how much oomph it can handle is much higher. So, and they are having problem with that, it cannot. So most likely is the chemistry was not tailor made for them. So inside lithium iron phosphate. So they are switching to lithium manganese oxide. Most likely it's a better seller that figured it out. Oh, what do you need? Oh, you need high C capacity, meaning now like, why do you need high C capacity? It's not designed for fast charging. Well, you have to understand they have 1 C capacity directly into the generator. Generator is powerful. So generator is giving that much power. You're driving the system, cool, everything is fine. And then you applied brakes. So generator is still going, and then you have regen that exceeds the oomph capacity of the lithium iron phosphate. So they are switching to lithium manganese oxide. Now, is that a big deal? Again, as of now, no. But I do expect them to in future to change, because again, it does not make sense to me. Most likely the chemistry did not, like, again, it's a very complicated system. And many times they are just like, hey, lithium iron phosphate could be better, it's just that we could not find a seller. No problem. And again, the even better chemistry exists, that is lithium titanate oxide. Penalty is the range is very little in this, like specific energy is very poor. Benefit, this puppy lasts for 15 years. Yeah, lithium iron phosphate is like, and it does not catch fire. You can set it on fire, it will just burn like wood. So it's the most stable, and again, it works in very low temperature, very high temperature. It's one of the most robust chemistry, just capacity is weak. Second best is lithium iron phosphate, and then if you need like, I need power, you go to lithium nickel manganese cobalt oxide, or you can go to lithium nickel cobalt aluminum oxide. These two puppies have the most oomph. You will find it in your mobile phone and laptops. And when you need car level batteries, generally people are switching away from NMCs to lithium iron phosphate so it does not catch on fire. Again, lithium manganese oxide has been used by SpaceX in Falcon 9s and all that. So that's also a good system. So they are switching that. And again, because it's a component rather than the whole vehicle designed around it, it's very easy to change in future. And again, they are already changing from LFP to this. So that's a good proof of concept. It's like, hey, we are flexible, meaning in tomorrow, if something new happens, no problem. We can just swap it without any issue. That's good. Wiring path needs to be done by CAD. This is one thing that every electrical hobbyist or engineer will tell you. It's like year one, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the PCB here. I'm going to put buttons here. I'm going to have the jacks here. Everything is fine. They never put space for wirings. People learned it the hard way. It's like, yeah, you have to put space for wiring. So they are also learning that in that truck they built. It's just wiring was not thought through. So it's messy to say the least. So they have learned that part. And you have to understand, our ears have auto gain audio, meaning if you are driving in a truck which has like giant engine going coupling the vibration, then you have transmission that go, then you have drive shafts and all that. So all this vibration creates a hum. Your ears will detect that hum and be like, hey, second one is the hum is still there, second two hum is still there, second three, yeah, I'm getting bored of this, turn the gain down. So even though overall decibel is high, your ears will become desensitized. But invert happens if it's quiet, meaning if you have a battery driving EXL, which is very far away from the drive cab, and you're not hearing any sound, your ear will like something is wrong, increase the gain, and now you can hear even tiny things. So they're talking about like, how even the little sounds they can hear, that's the whole problem. Again, it happens with the electric locomotion, electric drivetrain. It's one of those things. They have to improve the sound exponentially so. Because again, it's not that it's bad, it's just that there is nothing to suppress it. So it's like everything is now exposed. So a lot of learning, and they're very open about it, very honest about it. It's like, yeah, you can look at it. We messed up. It's like, now we are fixing it. Now, this is one hope that I have, is that I do hope they watch this video, because they did watch the first one. I have a comment from them. They do add thermal energy recovery unit. Now, the reason for that is ICE engine have what we call efficiency island, meaning take like this. So this is thermodynamic efficiency, meaning if you have 38 megajoule per liter in a diesel, how much megajoule you can convert. Like, you're not going to get 38, 100% is not allowed. Most likely you're going to get 25 to 35%. Now, that's a range. Why that is a range? Well, because of RPM and torque. So you take like this is the efficient thermodynamic efficiency, then you take this axis, which becomes RPM, and then you take this axis, which is torque. And that's the reason why we have transmission. Your engine can do everything at every RPM. It's just that it would be so inefficient. It's like, yeah, no, we have to put transmission. So at certain RPM, let's say you take an engine, it's like at 2800 RPM, I am sweet. Now, does that mean you should put it 2800 RPM, problem solved? Half problem is already solved. That's how diesel locomotives work. But other thing also is you do not want to change the loading on it. How much oomph you're extracting on the drive shaft, there is a sweet spot of it. If you put that sweet spot, you get engine max efficiency. And you can have noticed that if you have a modern car, it has a fuel mileage gauge. It will have two gauges, one instant gauge and another would be averaging gauge. Averaging gauge is far more realistic. Instant one, you will notice sometimes it jumps up too quickly. For example, in my car, it's like a 22 kilometer per liter. It rarely gives me that. I only get like 18, 19. But sometimes when I'm driving, it's like jumps to 41. I'm like, what the hell happened? That RPM and torque just went into the efficiency island. Your car can be very efficient. You just can't stay there. But in a series hybrid, you can permanently stay there. So that's the good part of it. That's how they're getting the more oomph out of it. And again, because of the efficiency of drivetrain, electric drivetrain, we can actually transfer that energy and do not lose too much about it. So you can actually achieve higher per kilometer liters based on a direct drivetrain, even though you have so many steps, because it's so you're keeping engine at exactly sweet spot. Another aspect is there is one extra energy source, which is what we call turbo. Now, turbo can act as a generator. Like, okay, where the energy is coming from? Well, you must have paid attention. Like, let's say you take a diesel engine and it's at 1500 RPMs. Cool, awesome. You put turbo, it goes to, let's say 3000 RPM. Now, here's the why it stopped at 3000. Well, it did not stop. You stopped it. Engine will go away, what we call a runaway. That's why we have to retard its RPM. Basically, we have to do things to slow it down. If we do not, it will run away. The RPM will keep going high, not only in the turbo, but also in the engine. So it will self-destruct. So you generally have vanes that starts to waste energy, and then you have blast gate, so to say. And you must have seen that in rally racing, where the engines are going full power, and then you randomly hear like fire coming out. It's like, yeah, engine is like, yeah, turbo is going YOLO, dump its energy, dump its energy, dump its energy. So thermal energy utilizes that principle. It's like there is so much wasted energy here. What if instead of retarding the RPM, we just go YOLO? We just say go YOLO. So let's say this puppy can easily rotate at 100,000 RPM. But if you remove all the constraint, it can go to 150,000 RPM, but that will destroy the engine. Well, you let it go to that RPM, allow it to, and then put load on it. That's the whole point. You put a generator, and again, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So at the moment you detect RPM is starting to go higher than that, okay, now put load on it. How much energy? Well, the first time this sort of concept became popular, it was always there, it was just popularized by F1 in 2016, the turbo came back. So the motor generator unit, MGU-H variant. There is K variant, which is for kinetic, basically braking energy, and then you have H variant, thermal variant, heat. So that puppy is on the turbo. Now this puppy is 4 kilograms, not heavy at all. And this can give you upwards of, upwards of 161 horsepower. And that's from waste heat. It's not burning more fuel. And again, if series drivetrain means you will actually burn less fuel or less duration. because again, you want to charge the battery. Let's say charging the battery requires 100 minutes to, like, charge the battery. You will reduce the charging time by 10 minutes. You're like, hey, only run for 90 minutes. You'll save that 10 minutes of fuel. Because again, motor generator unit is like, hey, turbo is finally, and again, if you are keeping engine at that peak efficiency, so can turbo be. And turbo is like, I want to go high RPM. It's like, go bro, we just carry this generator with you. And you were like, okay, 161 horsepower on something that is 4 kilogram. How is that possible? Well, if you studied in your school, you must have known that electricity has two components, voltage and amps. Now, does that mean this is super high voltage? No. Why not? Well, if you increase the voltage, insulation breaks down. So there is an upper limit. You cannot go YOLO on voltage. So that's upper limit. What about amps? If you increase the amp too much, it will start to melt. So there is an upper limit of that. So what can you do? Thankfully, in a spinning system or AC system, you have the frequency as an advantage, meaning the third vector you can control is the frequency. Higher the frequency, the smaller the size becomes. Basically, energy density improves. That's why your power grid only runs at 50 or 60 hertz, while your aircraft, basically the jumbo jets that you fly on, all of them are 400 hertz. Higher the frequency, smaller the motor generator, everything becomes smaller. And these puppies, yeah, let me put it this way. The shaft RPM is 1 lakh or 100,000 RPM, and it can go higher than that. So yeah, the size is like, bro, it's actually inefficient, and I think mostly because of the cooling. So it's not that miracle. Again, if you have that sort of high RPM, voltage is locked, amp is locked, increase the RPM. That's how you get more out of it. So there is a better, less showy variant of it. Like this is from showy variant, and then you have marine turbo generators. Exactly the same thing, because again, whenever you're talking about giant container ship, they have ginormous engine, like 80 megawatt rated, 90 megawatt, like bonkersly huge units, and they are very slow RPM, and they have giant turbo, like the turbo that is size of a small car or to a house, huge turbo. Somebody is like, hey, what if we put a generator there? It's from Mitsubishi heavy industry. So they're like, hey, how much energy you can get out of it? Some of the big puppies, 5 megawatt of energy. How much is that in context? Well, think of this is all only barely 3 to 5% of what the main engine is that whenever you are seeing those ships, they have main engine and they have aux generator. Aux generator is always running because there is no alternator. There is no alternator of few megawatts that you can just attach onto. So problem is that when you shut down the main engine, you need a energy source, cool. But again, if you need that, so people are like, hey, might as well use it during the voyage. So you are burning 2 engines during the voyage. Having this simply means you have one engine, turns on, turbo picks up the speed, then it starts to put load on it, then you get energy out of it, and you turn off your aux generator. Basically, during the whole voyage, you have one generator that is not working. Bonkers amount of fuel savings happens. Less efficient. So it can easily add 5% if like very sloppily designed, and up to 10%. Now, does that sound much? Well, here's the that's shut up, take money territory. Again, imagine whatever the fuel consumption you have, and you can reduce even 3% by default. Like, no, it will be 3% less. It's not like in optimums. No, it will be 3% less. Like, it will be. It would be so much that we were like, yeah, shut up, take money. And again, to give you an example how high we can go, the Mercedes and Red Bulls, they are achieving 51% thermodynamic efficiency. The only reason that can happen is because they have this. So this is my hope for them. Again, I do not expect them to do this in that 5 trucks they are building, but they should start talking with Scania. It's like, hey, let's talk about turbo replacements and like where can we place the turbo, how we can tune it. Of course, you still need a bleed gates and all that to make sure that turbo does not go YOLO in case of a motor generator failure. You do want some backups. And again, how do you place the actual motor generator unit? There are 5-6 OEMs that are making it. So it's doable. And again, they are in the optimum scenario. It's like, hey, electrical energy, what the hell to do with that electrical energy? Dump it into the battery. And yes, F1 also has batteries. So that's how the energy goes. So this is my hope for them. If you are watching, please plan for this. This will directly give you advantage that others cannot meet. 5% to 10% on every single liter of fuel, that is significant. Like, shut up, take money kind of significant. Now, what about competition? This is a genuine point. Like, if you're talking about a company, what if the competition comes? Realistically, after analyzing the whole market, unlikely there will be any competition anytime soon. Now, again, it will happen eventually. Someone will wake up, but it's not happening anytime soon. Now, why is that? Well, line must go up. We are in an era where Only thing you care about is line going up. Now, what does line going up simply means? It means you are making more profit this year than your last year. Now, if you're old enough, you must have remember iPhones when they first came out. Apple used to share, we sold, let's say 50,000 units. We sold 80,000 units. They was sharing that number. Then they stopped. Why did they stop? Well, they reached saturation, meaning this year they only sold 300 million. That's a lot of unit. Problem is, it's exactly the same amount they sold the last year. That's not excellent. That line goes down. Line must go up. So they stopped sharing that. And again, that's happening with all these giant companies which have ginormous conglomerates and all that stuff. So board of directors and shareholders and all that. Line must go up. They cannot make a product that is actually good, because if you made a good product and it does not brick itself every 5 minutes, you cannot oh, see, we made this machine. It breaks every time. Now we have service call profits. Yeah. That's the problem. They cannot do this. And again, there is a small example of this. Framework laptops were an idea. They made a company. They launched a laptop. It worked. People bought it. Again, not billions of units, but enough that it started to capture market. Now they are releasing it. And again, by the time if they ever add NVIDIA GPUs, they're gonna have serious market capture. Right now, that's the weak link. They do not have that. But again, you will be like, why would any company like HP, Dell, Lenovo, Gigabyte, MSI, why would they allow even a small competitor to happen? You do not want new competitor to come in. Why they are not fixing it? Yeah, line go up. So fundamentally, you cannot have to worry about these competitors, so to say. They are stuck in their own system. It's like, hey, we have to make cartridge-based printers, because again, if you made a big printer, again, you will make a lot of profit from day one sell, but we will not keep making it. So right now, all companies are stuck in an area. They cannot make a product if it's not a subscription. They sell you a truck, but they are not selling you a truck. They are selling you a garbage that will break in every few minutes, and then they're like, oh, this is a custom part. Pay the money. And the idea is they want to make it in $5 and sell you for $500. That's what they want. So fundamentally, this sort of strong, metal, robust, last a long lifetime, fundamentally is against this line go up. Layoff equals line go up. They're fundamentally opposite to that. So you are safe. So that's the one thing. You do not have to worry. Short duration. Now, how short this duration is, I do not even think anyone will really release a competition option in 10 years. At least 10 years. So that's there. Another aspect is, I can guarantee you there are more than smart people in all these truck companies. I can guarantee you that. And again, if I'm telling you series hybrid, again, my first video that I was like talking about series hybrid in a live stream, that was a few years ago, like before this Edison and all that. And again, more than enough people. This is 100-year-old diesel hybrid system. 100-year-old. It's in a museum. You can take it and go. Again, don't take it and go, but you get the point. Like, you can go and see, oh, people figured it out very early on that you keep engine on efficiency island. It's far better than anything else you can try. We've done this. This is pulling the whole country. And you're like, but what if we have some BS of F1 where it's like, what if we had parallel hybrid? It's like, parallel hybrid is so expensive. Again, F1 can afford it because they have a giant team. And I did not even know they used to throw away engine blocks. And the new 2016 regulation, and now you can only throw away 5 engine blocks per season. The heck? Again, now I am understanding. Yeah, if you study from that, you will be like, oh, we can just do, see, and then Chevrolet Volt would be like, why the heck we went bankrupt? Series hybrid, less part equal better. Again, have you seen the Honda's constantly variable electric drive transmission? It's like, just do series hybrid, man. Reduce the part freaking count. So corporate bureaucracy is hell. I can guarantee you there are more than enough smart people there. But by the time they will scream and the scream goes loud enough and it goes to the top and they actually get the funding and all that, they will be retired by then. So diesel electric is an ancient technology. It's proven, it's time tested, it's absolute. It's not like could be or would be. No, we know this. We have been doing this. I like the number of the engine, 1000. It's an ancient technology. So fundamentally, this sort of approach and the fact that they are not allowing themselves to be goggled up by venture capitalists, that means we are safe at least for next 10 to 25 years. I cannot guarantee after that, but at least for that long is there. And I'm really ashamed that nobody in India has figured out, hey, we can do this too. Hopefully, someday. So this was my presentation on basically what was the progress of Edison Motors in 2024. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.